Have an 8.5, a 9.4, a 7.2, a 7.5, and a 7.1. And I'm sure I don't have to ask about the time. Yes, there is a time penalty. How much is the time penalty? 3:46, so Dave will take that into account with the final score. Now, judges, here is the important thing. For every poem that you hear for the rest of the night, if you like it more than Dangerous's piece, you must score it higher than what you just gave him. If you like it less, you must score it less than what you just gave him. And that is why we do this, to calibrate the judges, to make sure that everything is nice and dandy and ready to go. So I did a little shuffling of the names on this list to come up with a order of performance. The first artist who's going to come up to the stage goes by the name of Truth Is. So please welcome Truth Is to the stage.
Worth it and mean it. When you lined us up like seasoned soldiers, still cowering with the post-traumatic stress we suffered from our last tour through your minefield, and you rose your hand to us, and it sprang like a garden of grenades, did you imagine that our return sleuths might have looked a little more like desperate palm pushing up against frozen lake waters in a respectful gesture to your authority? You were our general, leading us into a world of war, one in which we must be prepared to fight for ourselves, and what better way to be prepared than to fight ourselves with the fight in ourselves, dear Judith. Truth is always the first casualty of any war, but I have escaped your wound. I am a survivor of genetic terrorism who knows our civil war will be noted for being many things but civil. We are Iraq, Sudan, the Darfur conflict. We are Somalia, mother, and I must be naive to believe that someday you will recognize why they call me refugee. How they notice my well-founded fear of your persecution that has displaced me from my home, your heart, with no right of return, but that is someday. Because some like you will never see the blood on their hands until the last grenade has missed its target, and the nature of that truth can be the weapon or the excuse to pull the pin. So I promise I will be standing right here when the dust settles. But do not think to watch the Phoenix rise from the rubble of your presence with your contempt-colored eyes. I swear I will never mistake them for brown again.
Alright, that is Truth Is, round one of the slam. Judges, I want to see those scorecards in 3, 2, 1. Scores up. Alright, we have an 8.5, 9.2, 8.9, 8.9, and an 8.1. Give her another round of applause. Next artist coming to the stage, keep your hands going for Yogi.
Some people say they want equality, but all they see is color. You got these poets who write about peace, but all they talk about is war. They cry of injustice, but they go home and they dry their eyes on discrimination. They'll never see that things will never change as long as the system has them wearing these glasses. Every time they speak, I can hear the swine laughing. Full-bellied bellowing at their indifferent ignorance. Instead of treating people with compassion, they insist on placing borders around smiles. They're determined to limit a heart's potential, but we are all one consciousness. So why would anyone pioneer justice with hatred and decrees of war? Try to listen to the leaders who set nations free. The leaders who actually fought mental slavery. Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi never raised a fist. Martin Luther King Jr. never raised a fist. Yet we find words like independence and freedom and liberation encased in asterisks beside their names. And meanwhile, you got these so-called revolutionary poets pumping their blood-soaked fists for cause. Well, they only know half-truths. They can't see that lines don't exist. That's why they keep drawing them in the sand. Maybe, just maybe I can't understand because of who I am. Because the roots of my family tree come from so many places. You see, my mother's lineage traces back to the Arawak natives and across the Atlantic Ocean to Spain. A Boricua birthed in Manhattan. My great-grandfather was migrated from India to cut sugar canes. My father was born in the land of Calypso, Trinidad and Tobago. He passed through a Jack Kerouac tale of smoggy American cities for me to be birthed in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Then I moved to Fort Lauderdale. Of every culture underneath that sun, I was never a single one, but I've learned that none of that matters. I choose to share this space with the faces that God's created, so I have brothers of so many races and sisters from so many places. You see, the world will always be my family, and I can only offer my hand to my enemies, so excuse me if I don't see color the way they insist to. Excuse me if I can't pump my fists to my people. That's only because I have so many of them. Excuse me if I can't excuse them because I can be colorblind and they cannot. Because when they talk in bigoted phrases against the very ideas they hold on their shoulders like lions, it makes me see them as nothing but fools. As broken-backed mules carrying intentions they cannot see. They talk of freedom. They talk of liberation. They talk a real big talk. But they are blindfolded, wading naked through a forest of thorns, drawing blood from the future before it becomes. This is the legacy that's left behind, what's taught to generations to come. They're putting hate in the minds of the little ones. I wish I could open their eyes before it's too late, because we only have today to create tomorrow. But they keep tightening the noose on the future, fabricating truth from a factory of lies. God help us all. They've become slaves to everything they despise.
Alright, that was Yogi keeping this moving. Judges, we want to see those scores in 3, 2, 1. We have a 9.0, 9.3, 8.2, 9.7, and an 8.7. Give them another round of applause. Michelle, would you get the time? Alright. Next artist coming up, please put your hands together and welcome Lashai up to the stage.
In my throat. Graveyard catacombs for all the words that have been laid to wax before syllable could even burn on this fiery tongue rolled dead out of my mouth. I have stones in my throat. The adjective, descriptive word is the word that dies fastest. Give me your hat, give me your fucking hat! Punched out, blackout, out cold. Police asked me to describe him, but now to describe how fits the flesh, the floor feels, I have stones in my throat. And voices in my head. Give me your hat, give me your fucking hat! Give me your hand, give me your lips, spread your lips to me, give me your fucking hat! I got you, baby, don't tremble, baby, don't worry, baby. I have a condom, I have blue balls, I have to have you, I have empty hands, I have nothing to say, I have everything to lose, I have stones in my throat. I am pregnant with words that ricochet off one another before committing suicide in this middle passage, a miscarriage that almost cost me my sanity. So I grind on my lips to stop these mangled words from escaping my mouth in a bloody massacre of revenge for the silence that has me choking on words that have been hemorrhaging a slow death underneath the weight of these stones. These stones have been waiting to trap words, waiting to take flight, waiting to make sound. But like freedom has midnight after he left you, bleeding on the inside inside your empty bed. Silence tastes like drowning in the cell psychiatric ward of a hospital, watching the vacant eyes of your mother. Silence tastes like biting your lips to muscle the tsunami of an orgasm because good kills don't make too much noise. He beat the colors of the sunlight into your face and you smiled toothless for him. He gave you a cradle full of empty promises and you accepted with arms outstretched like Jesus. He refused to acknowledge his destruction of your temple and still you choose to remain invisible. Tell me how many stones does it take to break a person? I have stones in my throat. Stones the size of fists, reminiscent of the fist he imprinted in my flesh with the velocity of a sadistic hurricane. Stones that sometimes cause my body to convulse. A lifetime of accumulated asphalt trying to hang itself on my sarcophagus like the children of Israel fleeing Pharaoh. Stones that bear the names of my mother, my grandmother, and all those who wear their scars on the inside because outside the world is too busy stoning us to death to realize that there will come a time when we will sever the noose of silence and speak out with the force of a thunderclap tornado unleashed. And there will come a time when we will cease to pass our stones to our daughters and give them permission to speak. And there will come a time when we will regurgitate the stones in our throats and hurl them at any motherfucker who tells us to swallow. This is not about David and Goliath. This is about collective survival. I have stones in my throat. Ticking time bomb weapons of war, and you better believe that one day I'll use them.
That was Rashad. Looks like things are going to get intense up in here tonight. Judges, you want to see your scorecards up in the air in 3, 2, 1. We have a 9.5, 9.8, 9.8, 9.5, and a 9.